I thought I would talk a little bit about vanity pounds, or the last 5 or 10 pounds that are really kind of tricky for most people to get off. What we can expect and what we really have to sacrifice, or the work that we have to do in order to take off those last stubborn pounds. There's a really big problem when we are expecting to get those last stubborn pounds off, but we're not willing to do what it takes to make that happen. I was in the same boat. I would be pretty on top of things, and then the weekends were not dialed in, and I was really kind of spinning my wheels and not making any progress. I didn't personally learn what it really took to make consistent progress, week to week, and get really, really lean until I actually did a competition prep. It's an extreme sport, so we need to be realistic when we're comparing somebody who's training for a bodybuilding competition and somebody who is your average Joe Schmo living a normal life. When we first start fat loss, a lot like a toothpaste tube that's full. You apply a little bit of pressure, you do a little bit of change, and you're going to get some toothpaste out of it. But as time goes on, you really have to kind of wrangle with the toothpaste tube to get that same amount out. The work that has to be done at the end of fat loss to produce the same outcome that we kind of got used to in the beginning, it's going to be a lot more work and a lot more sacrifice. And the truth is, most people are not going to be willing to do that. I'm going to use myself as an example again. In the beginning of my prep for 10 weeks, doing 20 minutes of cardio. Last 3 weeks, I was doing 70 minutes of HIIT cardio every day on top of training. The deficit that we created, the gap in energy balance between calories going out and calories coming in, creating that deficit for fat loss, that starts to close up. In order to keep that gap as wide as we need to keep it, to keep producing that same outcome of, let's say it's about a pound a week, we need to do more on the expenditure side, and we might need to decrease on the intake side. That had to happen in order to keep me producing a little over a pound per week. If we kept things the same, I wouldn't have continued to make progress, and I wouldn't have been able to get on stage. When I was prepping for competition, something that my coach said to me stuck with me forever. I was running a high volume pizza station at the Culinary Institute of America, surrounded by top-notch gourmet food. Next to me was the grill station. Next to that was the pasta station. It was unbelievable food all around me. I had to stick to my just a bro diet for my competition. It didn't feel fair that my colleagues got to eat what they wanted. People got to take their lunch break and order something at the culinary and sit down and eat it. Kind of felt like I was imprisoned. My coach, I remember complaining to her 2 or 3 weeks out from stage, like, this isn't fair. Everybody around me gets to eat what they want. Like, this sucks. When my coach told me what she told me, that was kind of my first introduction to extreme ownership. She said to me, "Carly, you chose this. This is your choice. Everybody around you doesn't have the goal that you have, and therefore they don't need to take the measures that you need to take. This is something that you're choosing to do, and because of that, you kind of have to make peace with the fact that what you do is going to look a lot different than the people around you." That was really kind of my first taste. That was a wake-up call for me. There are a lot of people out there that could probably use a friendly wake-up call, that it's really going to come down to taking ownership of whether or not you're willing to make those sacrifices for the outcome that you want. So again, the expectations of those last vanity pounds are often way off, but I completely understand it because we just don't know what it takes until we do it. If you don't want to make further sacrifices to continue to lean out and break through that and get those vanity pounds off, there's nothing bad about that, or there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when we expect the outcome, but we're not doing what it takes to get there. Might have a mom of 3 kids. They've always traditionally ordered pizza on Fridays. That's something that they love to do together, and she's not willing to give that up. Well, I'm not willing to give up the lunch I have out with my girlfriends on Tuesdays. Identify the things that you are absolutely not, it's a non-negotiable. If you're going to keep in these maybe higher calorie days, you're going to have to offset that on the other days of the week. There are times that you're taking in too many calories to put you in a deficit, and you're not willing to give that up. I'm all about the gray area because things are not black and white. But this is black and white. I can't tell you how much agony I see people endure on their own account because they're expecting to be able to get the last few pounds off, but they're not willing to make any changes, any further changes. If you're stuck in that position where it seems like it's been months or it's been a year or it's been over a year that you are chasing I just want to lose those few pounds, identify the things that you're not willing to give up. And if you're not willing to change anything, it might do you better to start to make peace with where you currently are versus just suffering and being in agony of constantly holding it over your head that you want to lose these next few pounds, but not being willing to make any changes. Consider this your happy place, because this might be livable for you. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to throw in the towel at this point on that goal of getting those last few pounds off, and I'm going to learn to be happy with where I'm at because this is a good balance for me. If you really want to finally get that done though, just consider that it's going to be temporary. To be able to say you did it, even for 3 or 4 weeks, 2 things are going to happen. 1, you're going to see through experience how much more progress you could make by making those sacrifices. B, you're going to learn whether or not you're willing to actually keep up with that. You know, you've given up everything just for the sake of getting lean or getting those last few pounds off. You very well might get to that point and say, this is not worth it. Most people say, no, I don't want this. This is not my happy place. I hope that this is helpful just to kind of put things into perspective a little bit. And if you could use any help or you want to chat a little bit about this, don't hesitate to let me know.